form in the
Yeah, I
Rusev
love
household.
Chosen this season. I love his character. They managed to take a 10-minute bad guy from 1986 and make him one of my favorite characters this year.
Hey, Indigo made the beat.
What's going on, Peakers? It's been a while. I mean, a while since I've seen this beautiful community of fellow fans and geeks and nerds and cool folks, whatever your pleasure is. I am yours truly, James, and with me is my comrade. Comrade. That sounds terrible. My buddy, Mike. What's going on, Mike?
Not much. Wax on, wax off, my friend.
By the way, Mike, that is a beautiful tower case behind you on your left. That is
It
some
is,
gorgeous
isn't it?
stuff. This is what Heroes Peak
Yep.
is into, building stuff. Wow,
One of them, yeah.
that's pretty awesome.
So
So,
putting together a
go
PC for
ahead.
someone
Oh,
who
PC for
shall
someone.
remain nameless for now.
Someone.
I'm sure he's pretty
Someone.
excited about it. So
Yeah, thanks. Before we start, I want to say a special shout out and well wishes to folks in Florida, particularly the areas that are being hit by the storm Hurricane Ian, and very, very specifically our community members Jen and Chad, who I've spoken to, and they're fine. They have very little damage. They just had a power outage for about half an hour or so. But it does mean that, to me, it's personal when something like that happens in any of our areas in the States and Canada, and it affects members of our community. So, for all of our subscribers and fans who are watching, if you're in that area, we hope you're able to get back on your feet. Um, and that'd be that. So, that being said, Mike, it's been a while, and what are we talking about
today
today?
is going to be Cobra Kai. I can't believe it's season 5 already.
Season
Yeah,
5. And some of us been watching this show since we had
yeah,
YouTube on our phones and we're watching on our phones. So came a long
yep.
way. Yes, Cobra Kai season 5. That's our topic today and our only topic. So let's just get into it. We're not going to waste your time, guys and gals. So this season 5 on Netflix, picked up directly after the events of season 4, where a couple things happened. Big things, real quick. John Kreese, who you knew led Cobra Kai's reemergence after Johnny in season 2, he was arrested. He was wrongfully framed for battery and assault on
That's right.
Stingray, framed by none other than Terry Silver, his Sith apprentice who became the Sith master. Um, Among other things, at the end of that, because of a tournament that was held and per the agreement, Miyagi Do and not Cobra Kai, Eagle Claw was forced to shut down their
Right.
studios. And that left you at the closure of episode 4, where Daniel was so beside himself, he went back to an old enemy turned ally, Chosen, to help him bring down Cobra Kai. And then one last stinger was given to us at the end of season 4 is Miguel, very well known and very fan favorite character, decided that he was going to go on a journey to find his biological father in Mexico.
Yeah.
So that's basically how season 4 ended on a major cliffhanger. We came into season 5, and season 5 says, you know what, we're not going to do a fast forward to the next cycle. We're going to give you exactly the events within a week from the ending of season
Right.
4. So the first several episodes, storylines, there's a couple key storylines. One includes what we just talked about, Miguel searching for his biological
Which I
father.
could have lived without.
Another one, which
Yeah.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Just high recap before
All
we
right.
get into the meat and potatoes here. Another one was Johnny and Robbie, who decided they were going to go help. Well, Johnny was decided in the season 4 he's going to go help Miguel. He told his mom he'll go find him. Robbie decided to join him because at the end of season 4 they became close. Terry Silver, in the first couple episodes, you're wondering what's going to happen to Cobra Kai now. Terry Silver is in charge. Well, he's a corporate dude. He's always been a corporate dude since Karate Kid
Mm-hmm.
3. Guess what? It's time for aggressive expansion. Chosen, who you saw at the end, the stinger at the end of season 4, is now living with the Russos in California. And then the last couple of really nuggets of the first couple of seasons is really about Sam. Sam, who obviously is still distraught from her loss at the All Valley tournament. And then the other tertiary and secondary tertiary characters. So, Mike, before we get into we're not going to go episode by episode. Sorry, Chris. I know you love doing that.
We're not going scene by
High
scene.
level,
Damn it.
going into the first 2
Mm-hmm.
episodes, knowing where we left off of season 4, what were your thoughts on how the show was progressing the narrative?
Yeah, so I figured we were gonna get some bunch of stuff in Mexico, which that whole story, like Miguel looking for his dad, I understand why, but a lot of it, I was just like, let's move on already. But there was a lot of fun stuff in that trip to Mexico with, oh my God, why am I blanking on his name now? You, Johnny,
Johnny?
right? Johnny and
Miguel?
his son
Okay.
with Robbie and Miguel. Oh my God, the main character of the show, and I can't remember his name. Yeah, but with Johnny
Johnny, yeah.
and the trip down to Mexico, and so Miguel got robbed, and then when they tried to rob Johnny and Robbie, they wound up kicking their ass, and I thought that was cool. So so straight out the gate, we got a cool fight scene. And but like the whole it took so long for Miguel to see what a douchebag his dad was and all that stuff, and following him around. We probably could have cut that into 10 minutes and been done with it. But
Hold on. I don't mean to cut you, but I have to say something here
yeah,
real quick. Miguel's character from day one has always been not that he's emotionally IQ stunted, but in certain respect he's
yeah,
naive. Since the very first episode when he's getting beat in a convenience store before Johnny comes
right.
in and helps in. Like this is in play with Miguel. I like you thought this whole thing was probably way too
Hmm.
long of a narrative, but he's acting within what the character has been set out to be from the beginning of the show. You felt like nah, you didn't care about
No,
that.
you're
It was
right.
just like
You're right.
let's move
It's
on.
within his character. I just sometimes the one negative about the show is sometimes they take some arcs too long, but you know I can live with it because
You're right.
the stuff that
Yeah.
the stuff that I really enjoy, so it kind of outweighs the I can put up with it, right? So it's not a show killer for me.
Yeah.
It's not like how dare they spend so much time in Mexico? I'm not watching this shit anymore. You know what I mean? So
All right, we're gonna get back to that, particularly
yeah.
Johnny and things that took too long. So the other big thing that happened in the first 3 episodes was Chosen. Chosen now is living in Lucio's family, and he's a foreigner living in
Swimming
America.
naked in the
He
pool.
still has the same personality and characteristics that we know him to be. And then Mama LaRusso, who I really want to focus on her later on, as we get near the second half of our conversation. She steps in and is like, Daniel, what the freak is this? Like when you told me this was gonna happen, I didn't think this dude be walking around naked and all this stuff. Um, so Chosen to me was definitely my fan favorite character in the entire
Oh, for
series.
sure.
But the beginning of the show, you don't quite know where he's going to fit in the
Yeah.
story. You know, at the end of season 4, he made the deal. He'll come help respect Miyagi Do, help get rid of Cobra Kai once and for all. And then beginning, there's no really antagonistic reaction. It's just Chosen being like a fish out of water, living in loose. I mean, I thought to me they probably could have put a little more effort in that part as opposed to
Hmm.
Mexico. But I thought it was pretty good. What were your thoughts on Chosen's on coming in to shape and form in the
Yeah, I
Russo
love
household?
Chosen this season. I love his character. They managed to take a 10-minute bad guy from 1986 and make him one of my favorite characters this year. So kudos
Mm,
to expanding on his storyline, and it just worked for me, that whole thing. So and I
agreed.
love how
Definitely agreed.
he tried to keep Daniel grounded, but at the same time he was always like, let's just go kick their ass, right? So he was kind of conflicted there too, right? So I love that.
He was like the
Yeah.
gaslight. Like he was the initiator for anything antagonistic. but you knew where he was
Right.
coming from. To him, he respected Miyagi and respected everything that Miyagi was representing and was about, including Daniel-san's Miyagi-Do, and to feel like Cobra Kai was disrespecting it, he wasn't comfortable with
No.
that. So that made perfect sense that he would be like, let's go right
Yeah.
here. All right. So now let's get into not the children. They're actually not pretty old now. The kids, the
Yeah.
students.
They're all collecting Social Security
Apologize for our
now.
younger subs. Yeah, yeah, I know the students. So there's a lot going on in the beginning. I started talking about Sam a little bit earlier on, because to me, I think she's the focal. Yeah, you're gonna say Robbie and
Hmm.
Miguel. I think Sam Larusso in the last couple seasons has become more of a focal point, is because of her direct connection to her
Right.
father, who's obviously a major character in the show. But the story, her plot, has gotten to really meet the last couple of seasons, the last two seasons to be specific. Whereas Robbie and Miguel carried the show the first two,
Hmm.
three seasons, right? So as far as the students are concerned, her story is probably by far the most interesting. And I wasn't a fan. If you go back and check the archives, I
Same
wasn't
here.
a huge
Same
fan
here.
of the
Yep.
character. But this season, they gave her a lot more to react. And I thought that the fact that she's now trying to come to terms with like Miyagi Do's done, go back to it's the summer now. I'm sorry, they're not in school yet. This is the summer. Go back and live her life with her friends and go to the
Hmm.
beach, not the beach, the swimming pool, and hang out. But yet they can't seem to escape the world that they live in this Cobra Kai, which is all karate, all fighting, all the
Not
time.
one gun to be found.
What were your thoughts? Yeah, so what were your thoughts on Sam? And you could expand if you
Yeah.
want to and start focusing to the
So,
other
so like I said the same
students.
thing when we did our season 4 review. Sam was my least favorite character in season 4. She just came off as
Hmm.
annoying and needy and blah blah blah. They, she was vastly improved this season for me. I like that she was dealing with her loss at the tournament, trying to figure out how it was possible for her to lose. Then realizing it's because what's her face cheated, and her
Hmm.
struggle with wanting to be with Miguel and not being Miguel. The only thing that annoyed me was that part where she walked in on Miguel kissing the other girl and getting all mad, be like,
Hmm.
I broke up with you, but how
Hmm.
dare you be kissing on somebody else, you know? So whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's teenage.
By the
It's teenage
way,
angst, right?
one of the most emotional moments was when um, Miguel was about to like reconcile the relationship with the little necklace that he couldn't afford, and then he just dropped
Yeah,
it because he saw. Dude, that was some great ass
yeah,
acting
yeah.
by the actor who's playing
Well
Miguel,
done.
soon to be in Blue Beetle in
Hmm.
DC. Well done. But go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean
Yeah,
to cut
so
you off. You're
so
saying
so she
about
was an
Sam.
improvement for me over season 4 for sure. Like she grew as a character, right? So you can tell she's
Hmm. Hmm.
maturing. She's not becoming like maybe it's because she was you know basically a bratty, spoiled rich kid in the past. You know what I mean? And didn't have to deal with all this kind of conflict in her life in the real world. But now it's
Her
right.
character, actually, the traditional arc, she starts
Hmm.
high. She's privileged, she's
Right.
rich, she gets a car accident, wrecks, and then you see, her devolve, learn karate. Like she's probably had, and I hate to say it because I didn't like her character, but now I'm looking at the entire totality of the 5 seasons. She had the most growth out of all the student
Yeah, I think
characters,
so. I
period.
agree with you. Her and Tori, I think.
And
Yeah.
Tori, I will get into a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah. So I think this season, um, didn't really focus on the kids. I'll tell you in a second after we talk about this little segment real
Hmm.
quick. But with the kids that they students, I'm keep saying kids. I apologize, my subs, our subs. The students that they did focus on were probably Tori, Sam, Kenny, and Hawk. Those were the main
Hmm.
ones, right? So we talked about Sam. Tori, I want to save to the end. Hawk. So Hawk's character is weird to me because I don't quite know what they're doing, and this is where I get a little nitpicky with the show. Listen, this show's not perfect,
Right.
right? His character to me doesn't seem to be following any sort of consistent narrative. because we knew Hawk from season one when he was in the bad side, and then he changed, and then he became good. Then he became really good as far as karate is
Hmm.
concerned, and then he's taken a step back. So this season in particular, I didn't see any true growth from Hawk's character. And I'm pretty sure the actor's a great guy. He looks like he's doing his best at
Yeah.
it. But his character to me, I didn't think really progressed, not just as far as a character arc, but the story narrative. I think he was more like a plot device for Kenny, which we'll get into next, and other characters like who's his friend, the nerd guy who's hacking the computer, and the guy in the chair. He's more like a plot
Yeah,
device now.
I think yeah, he
What do you
was
think?
more like yeah, it was good. That's a good analogy, like man in the chair kind of, or even like what we call the token black guy in the movies, just that is whack kind of guy. You know what I mean? The guy who just stands there and
Yeah,
points things out that are obvious to everybody else, and
yeah.
um, so yeah, like I can't really say I paid too much attention to the extra characters. I was more focused on
Wow.
Daniel and Johnny and Chosen.
We'll get to
Yeah,
that. We'll get
and
to that. Save that.
right,
Save that
but in
thought.
terms of
Save
the
that
kids, it
thought.
was Miguel and Tori and Robbie and Sam, right? So
But let's
yeah,
be honest. Like season two, not season one. Season two, three, maybe not four. Season two and three. The crux of the show really were the students.
hmm
Yes, you had the overwhelming shadow of Johnny, Daniel, and Crease, but it ultimately came down to what the students were able to perform. They had the All Valley tournament
right.
twice. There was a fights in school. Like to me, which is why I know a lot of young fans love the show, including my daughter and my son, was the
hmm
students because they might have watched Karate Kid one through whatever, but they've never really experienced the same connection that you and I have. So you and I are looking for like the adults, whereas the students were driving the mid seasons. And I think this season took a step back and really, they load shed their focus on a lot of, which is
hmm
fine. And we'll get to the end why I think that was fine. But I think they did a disservice to some characters, and I think they could have put maybe a little more forward. Like the other, I forgot the actress name, the Asian actress who used to be an Eagle Fang and then joined Cobra Kai. Like they gave her way too much, and for like her and Tori, the whole dynamic, I didn't care for. I would rather have seen Hawk. This is the reason why I brought
Uh-huh.
up Hawk. I think Hawk didn't get a real sort of touch on this. So last two characters,
hmm
real quick. Kenny and Tori. So I think Tori, another character who I really liked, but didn't seem to not regress as bad as Hawk, but didn't really elevate her character arc. I think the whole crease and her, that whole thing to me was like, okay, we get it. She never had a father figure. Crease was there for her at a pivotal moment. She keeps going to see him, getting advice. She's playing a double
Yeah.
agent, which is like, oh my god. And then she has the whole issue with the new sensei women that Terry hires. Again, like you, that character was so well defined. What are we doing her now in season five? Were you okay with the way Tori was being portrayed? I mean, the way her character went through the season, or did you have some issues too?
I think I was fine with it. I mean, I had a feeling she was gonna flip once she realized that who Terry Silver really was, and the fact that he cheated to let her win the tournament, right?
Hmm.
So I think
Yeah.
the way her arc went this season was okay with me. Glad she finally came to the realization of what his Cobra Kai vision is and how bad, terrible it really is, right? Um, but for me, I think my focus more was with Kenny and his complete transition to like the dark. I'll call it the dark side.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's get it. Let's
yeah.
go, Mike. Let's go. Kenny, out of all the students, his character in the last two, was he introduced in season three or
Last season, I
four?
think season 4. Yeah,
Season four. This dude is hitting Kevin Durant numbers. He only had two seasons, or I should say Steph
right.
Curry. He hasn't played 20 seasons like
Yeah.
LeBron. But this dude in two seasons has probably had the most impact on the
Yep.
show and character growth as a character. And I don't know if that was intentional or just pure accident because of the actor or whatnot. I don't know that. But Kenny to me has been something where, and I'll never forget this. I'm watching with my son. My son was rooting for Kenny in the beginning because there's a lot of similarities. And then he was hating him. He was mad. He was almost in tears. Then he was happy
Yeah.
again, and he was mad. Yo, I don't know about the way this character is being written in the show. All right, you take
Yeah,
the floor.
so
Tell
I'm
me
with
your
you
thoughts
too. There's a
on
lot of ups and
Kenny in
downs,
season
but I
five.
think what did it for me was I if you think about it, he completely fell for Terry Silver just like Daniel did in Karate Kid 3. Hook, line, and sinker. He fell for what Silver was selling on how to be
But
Mhm.
hold on. Even before Silver, he was in the Crease camp
right.
too. Like he was buying into what Crease was giving him, despite what Robbie was
He
telling him.
was,
But go
but
ahead. So
I
he
think Robbie
continued.
still had some influence over him at the time. But it wasn't until Silver
True.
said,
That's
you
true.
can
Yeah,
be
you're right. You're
the
right.
best. You are, you know, you can be my apprentice, blah blah blah."
He taught him the
Right.
Denmark, the silver
Exactly. And
bullet.
it was basically just that was my comparison to him telling Daniel, sweep the leg, and if he can't breathe, he can't fight. If he can't see, he can't fight. That kind of thing. And Daniel fell for it, but luckily was able to come out of it. But I think so. This is what we saw with Kenny was he actually fell for it too, but didn't come out of it at the end. So.
Yeah. So I listened to a podcast, and I can't give claim to which podcast it was 'cause I can't remember right now at the moment. But the writers of the show they're huge Star Wars
Mm,
fans, and they've always been fascinated about Anakin's fall to the dark side, and they've used that inspiration throughout the entire series. But the interview was before Kenny's character in season four. I think this was like season three when they made the interview. So my thought is Kenny is a perfect example of like someone like Anakin, born from good, low stakes, was being bullied, became all powerful, and just fell and fell and
right.
fell, and thinks he's doing the right path. And every opportunity the show gives you to correct himself. Like, let's be honest, we didn't like Daniel's son, Lapuso, for a while, but enough is
Yeah.
enough. The dude is like, I feel
Yo,
bad for Lapuso.
they
Sorry, I didn't
dunked
mean to
him in the
call him Lapuso.
toilet.
What is his real name? And when he asked him, "Hey, dude, I'm sorry, man. Are we done? Can bygones be bygones?" And he was like, "Let me think about that."
Uh-huh.
And you're thinking like, "This is not going to end well," and it didn't end well.
Right.
Okay, all right. So let's shift to what I think this season really is about. And Mike, you kind of already edged us on here. For the first time since season one, I think the show and the creators and writers said, you know what, we've got something good here with these young cast, but let's go back to the roots, the foundation. Like Mr. Miyagi would say of the bonsai
Hmm.
tree. Strong roots, strong foundation, strong. The adults, including some new adult cameos.
Yes.
But let's focus on let's focus before we get into that. Daniel, and let's make it a group conversation because I don't want us to be here for like five
Right.
hours,
Right.
a la Chris. Love you, Chris. Let's talk about Daniel, Johnny, and Chosen. That's the three main adults. Terry and Chris, we'll talk about real quick next. I think that the show has, and we only seen Chosen in two
Hmm.
seasons, right? He was a cameo in season three, I
Right.
believe, and then full cast in season five. And then obviously Johnny and Daniel's been since the beginning. I like the way the show wrote these characters, including Daniel, who from episode one of season one, I realized this dude was the douchebag. Johnny was
Hmm.
right. Season five gave me another perspective to Daniel. Like he's still that young New Jersey kid who came out of like, you know, not knowing and not confidence and trying to do what's right. And his mom was kind of, there's so many big issues I saw with Daniel, including his wife. That conversation he had with his wife when she
Yeah.
left hit
Oh yeah.
hard. And I'm like, wow, kudos for the writers to say, you know what? We're going to give you another element of a challenge, Daniel. Your home
Hmm.
life, your significant other. Let's see you deal with that.
Which was not
What were your thoughts
surprising.
on
It
like
was not
the
surprising because Daniel, like even if you think about the old Karate Kid movies, Daniel a lot of times had a one track mind when his mind was set on something. Everything else was like backseat. So I'm not surprised his wife was like, "You
Yes.
either need to get out of that mindset or we're done." You know what I mean? So I thought that was
I
very
was
good.
shocked it
Yeah.
took that long. Yeah.
So I thought that.
But I like how the way the show handled it. The show, for the first time, gave his wife and the actress, I don't know her name on top of my head, gave her a real character arc for her to actually go through. And then they gave us one of our first cameos. Well, I don't know if technically the first cameo. They brought back Jessica Andrews from Karate
Yeah.
Kid 3.
So I didn't realize.
And I'm sitting
I didn't
there,
realize that her and Amanda, right? Amanda, right?
Amanda, yeah,
Amanda, the
that's her
wife,
name.
Daniel's
Amanda
wife.
Larissa.
I didn't realize they were cousins, and that Jessica. Like, I guess we had that whole story thing.
I didn't know. I'm watching the entire
Mm-hmm.
episode. And I'm like, where's she from?
Yeah, you didn't remember she was
So
from
of
part
course
three.
me, Wikipedia, looking at the
Mm-hmm.
cast, and then boom, spoil it for me. And then they actually she reveals it in the
Right.
flashback. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
perfect. I thought that was beautifully done because that tied so many
Yep.
arcs. That tied Karate Kid 3. That tied how Amanda met
Right.
Daniel, which I didn't think I needed at the point, but also Sam was there. If you remember,
Yep.
Sam was there. This is the middle of their timeout between Daniel and his wife, and decide to take the kids. And Daniel's at the bar. I'm not Daniel. Sorry, Sam's at the bar, and they're about to get to a wife female beatdown at a bar in Ohio. By the way, I've been to
Mm-hmm.
Ohio. That bar does not represent Ohio. Anyhow, the fight's about actually fight happens. Women are fighting, and then when I saw Sam come through, I was
Oh.
like, "Oh, Sam's about to deck this real quick," and she did. Great scene, and great callback to Jessica Andrews' character. Another cameo, Mike Barnes.
Yes.
So I'll let you tell me what you thought. We all kind of knew Mike Barnes was
Right.
coming in, but did you know he'll be featured this way in the
Yeah,
season?
America's Badass, right? The Bad Boy of Karate. That's what it was. Sorry.
Bad Boy
Yeah.
Karate was a cover of it.
So yeah, they kind of. I was kind of glad the way they used Mike in this season because I thought he was going to be another antagonist for Daniel and Chosen and Johnny, but the way they flipped it
Hmm.
was more like because if you've watched it, he's actually just selling furniture now. He's calmed down in his life. He's married now. He's took over his father-in-law's furniture store, and so at first Daniel, of course, thinks that Mike Barnes is in with Terry Silver, so they go to scope out his
Hmm.
store.
Him and Chosen
Yeah,
go.
and
Yep,
they
yep,
get
yep,
into
yep.
this fight.
One of my favorite episodes. So
Yeah, they get into a
yeah.
fight, and just to realize Mike wants nothing to do with Terry Silver because you realize what a dick he was. Um, so all that was great, and then at the end, they had that conflict at the end in the limo because Terry wound up burning down his furniture store, and I understand he was mad, but I'm like, dude, did you not have insurance or anything? Like, are you this mad about a furniture store?
Yeah, but here's what
Um,
I think. I think he still wasn't mentally 100%
yeah,
there. Not mentally, intellectually, he
right.
wasn't there. So probably didn't have insurance. He probably had some loan sharks because he was like, I put everything in
Yeah,
there. I'm like, dude, you put your own everything in there. You didn't get a bank loan. You didn't get you're right. I don't think he
yeah.
did that. Um, so I think we hit most of the major. And I get to Crease and Terry 1 second. One last thing about Johnny, which we totally missed talking
Mm,
about the fact that he's a future dad.
right.
So from a kick-ass scene of a Top Gun dream that his wife, sorry, Miguel's mom
Hmm.
has, where he's like Top Gun. Great scene,
Yeah.
by the way. They did great with the mom. I think they must. You could tell Netflix money went big because they got Rocky and
Yep.
they got freaking Top Gun
Yep.
music played. That's
Oh yeah.
money, ladies and gentlemen. That's money. Um, and she announces she's pregnant, and he goes through trying to baby proof his entire apartment, which goes back to the beginning of the season where he's trying to get Robbie and Miguel after the post Mexico trip to be friends
Yeah.
again because he knows that they're going to be
Right.
brothers at a certain point. I thought that was again Johnny and Daniel, but probably Johnny. If I want to take the entire season five, all five
Hmm.
seasons, Johnny has probably had the biggest growth out of
Yeah.
everyone because he's experienced more. Daniel not so much, and then all the student characters are they're here. I think the producers, the writers, and the show creators said, you know what, let's give another element to Johnny. Well, he didn't do right by Robbie, and he failed with Miguel as a sensei student. Now he's going to be an actual dad again. Let's see how he handles this. I think the way they started to show you that he's trying to be more sincere about it, and we'll get to the finale with the photo, which I thought was stupid, but we'll get to that. What were your thoughts about Johnny's character this season? Did you like where he was going? Did you feel like they could have done better?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Johnny had some great growth this season. I'm with you 100% there. And not only was his character growth great, his
Mhm.
his bumps along the way were some of the funniest moments in the show this season. His being an Uber driver, a door
Dude,
Uber
dude,
Eats delivery guy, and him and
dude.
Chosen at the bar talking about their past conflicts with Daniel, and them comparing notes about how Daniel was. Some of the greatest stuff.
And sometimes he's not like the author of the
Yeah,
joke, but he's the
right.
recipient. Perfect situation was when the female Japanese sensei, or Korean sensei, apologies, who when Chosen and and Johnny decide to walk
Hmm.
in to fight all the
Yeah.
senseis, perfect, Hollywood kung fu old school flick. She goes, "Oh, Chosen, you came a long way from Okinawa, and Daniel, you healed up pretty well." He's like, "Daniel, I'm not Daniel Russo," because he was a token
Right.
white guy in that situation, and I'm like he doesn't even need to be like the creator of the
Yeah.
joke. He's just the joke
Right.
sometimes, but they don't do it where he's like Thor and
Oh, I
fucking
know.
Love and Ragnarok, where that he's a joke unto
Yeah.
himself. They do it where he's like in the universe. It makes sense where
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anyway,
No, but
yeah,
yeah,
great.
well written this season for Johnny for sure. So another plus in my book there.
All right, let's start getting near the end here. Characters, last two characters, Kreese and
Hmm.
Terry. We gotta talk about them real quick. Sith Lord one and Sith Lord two. Um, Terry's obviously he went full Palpatine this season, in my
Hmm.
opinion. He went darker than dark. Started from him going to the charity event. Like you could see, like these guys are influenced by Star Wars. They want to get as Palpatine as
Yeah.
possible with Terry, so he's almost cartoonish villain. Kreese was a little bit different, and I love how they continue to engage Kreese's character to the point they realize, okay, we obviously know the actor is 71, 70, whatever, how old he is, but we can, through flashbacks, give you his younger version. By the way, that's his son. I went online and found out that the actor playing the young Kreese, or
Oh,
son or
is it?
grandson, they're
Oh, I didn't know
related.
that. Okay.
Yes. Yes. I found out like this past
Nice.
week.
Okay.
So that's why there's a little bit physical
Yeah.
resemblance. I like how they're carrying Kreese's character. I didn't like him and Tori's engagement throughout the season too much.
Right.
I like that Kreese was involved all the way through. What are your thoughts on Kreese and Terry?
Yeah, I like where they were trying to go with Kreese. The only thing that bugged me about this was at the end when he died, right? And or supposedly died. Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of like hokey a little bit, but I don't know. So I don't know where that what I don't understand. I'm thinking maybe they should have let him die and been done with it.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree. That would have been a perfect
because now
story. It
now
would have been
where
like
do you go
perfect.
with him now? Right? You know what I mean? Next season, what's happening now? Well, I mean,
Yeah,
you're
he
going to talk
doesn't
about
quite
Terry in a
fit.
minute, but Terry's in jail. So we kind of have a reverse now. So what
Yeah.
are we flipping the script now in season six? I don't know. Yeah.
All right. So, all right, we're getting to the last two segments that I have them here in my notes, and Terry ties directly into the finale and the last two episodes. So we, through Kreese and Tori's conversation, we realized what was Terry's master plan with putting Kreese in jail and expanding Cobra Kai. Apparently, there's a Mortal Kombat Street Fighter tournament that exists in his
Yeah.
universe, which I'm like, when I heard this, Eric and I both rolled our eyes so hard we got
The
headaches.
Kumite.
We were like, "Come on!" Like basically, I think one of us said
Uh-huh.
Kumite. Let's just say I said Kumite. Um, and I'm sitting there like, really? This is what the end game is for this? The Kumite? So Terry's master plan was getting his Cobra Kai inserted into this world street fighting tournament or
Hmm.
Kumite, I should say, karate tournament. Obviously, once the information gets spilled from Tori, from Kreese to Tori and everybody, Daniel and Chosen and Johnny decide we can compete too. We're going to demonstrate to these judges that our students are on the same caliber.
Right.
Great sequence, by the way. I love the sequence of all the teams showing their strengths and weaknesses. I love the little Rocky Four connection
Uh-huh.
there. Johnny again was a standout. Um, so I'm thinking, to me, this is like a one thing. We're not going to really get beyond that. Like one team's going to be selected, and then next season we'll talk about it,
Yeah.
right? No, of course it didn't happen because we get into the penultimate episode with the final tournament. I have to say, I didn't think the fight choreography in this season, the tournament, was as good as it was last
No, I
season.
think I
My
think the All
thoughts.
Valley tournament choreography last season was a lot better. So
Okay, I was waiting for
yeah.
you to like Chris
No, no,
me,
no. I'm
but
with you there. It was kind of, it was a little like almost,
I was
yeah,
disappointed. Just say it. I was
yeah,
disappointed. And then Kenny pulling out his Dimmock silver bullet move. To me, again, another disservice to Hawk. I'm not saying that Hawk, if he knew about it, I mean, if he didn't know about it, should be able to counter it. But the entire fight, to me, Hawk was the better fighter. You've established to me Hawk's power
yeah,
scale, right? Like let's say MCU movie. I know what Hawk
right,
can do. I know what Kenny's powers are. It shouldn't even got to that point where he had to use the Dimmock
yeah,
move. I was disappointed with that. I was disappointed with a lot of the fights. But say here or there, the point is, at the end, they're all three are invited into the Kumite, and we're like, "This is it? What the fuck?" The show,
yeah,
and obviously penultimate episode, and then we get to the
hmm,
finale. So the finale is where we get to where Mike Barnes hijacks. You're talking about Chosen. By the way, great rendition of Eye of the
yes,
Tiger. Again, Netflix big money. And then Stingray. I don't want to get into Stingray because I thought he was one of my least favorite moments. We'll get to favorite and worst at the
yeah,
end. But because of that, you have a lot of plans are happening in the final
hmm,
episode. And I'm following. By the way, I think it was the longest episode of season 5, the
yeah,
finale. Um, and then we get to the point where we're going to separate the students, as you should, with the adults and then the tertiary characters. So you have LaRusso, sorry, Amanda and Jessica coming to help Daniel, who's been left in the
right,
highway. So they have their own little story happening. Chosen and Johnny have decided they're going straight to Terry Silver's house and fight his evil ninja Gaiden castle, and
yeah,
Terry. And then you have the students who are going to go, Miyagi and Eagle Claw, going to go into Cobra Kai's dungeon and find a recording tape of Tori's cheating scandal with the
right,
referee. Lots happening. It's like
yeah.
Star Wars.
Multiple
Again, I'm
arcs, yeah.
telling you, these producers are they're huge fans. So what were you thinking as all this stuff was developing? I want to hear your thoughts on this
Look,
because I know what
I
I'm
thought the
thinking.
finale was great. I don't have too many qualms about it, but I mean, I like the multiple arc things. It works for me in Star Wars. It worked for me here, right? Because you know you got a few minutes of suspense going on, then you cut to the other side, and so
But it only
mhm.
works, Mike. It only works if it's believable.
Right. Oh
If
yeah.
you've given me enough emotional investment in these characters where I care
Hmm.
about it. Like small example, what is it Kyler? The douchebag from season 1, the Asian American Cobra
Yeah.
Kai guy. He's probably the longest living Cobra Kai guy
Yeah.
from the beginning. Where the other guy, Hawk's friends, telling him, "Dude, everybody kick your ass. You realize that? Like who have you not been?" And I'm sitting there like, "Holy shit, this dude has got his
Right.
ass kicked." And then he gets ass kicked again. Like every moment with all three arcs are crazy to me. Chosen to me, everything stopped with the fight between
Yes,
Chosen
that was
and
the
Terry
best of them.
Silver. That was when I almost put a dent in my freaking living room wall, and my son cursed out loud in front of me for the probably the third time in his life. Because again, the show has given me Chosen as like somebody I really could
Right.
connect to, and I was like, okay, so let me try to get to the point where you're saying how you really enjoyed all three arcs, like Star Wars,
Mm,
Unbelievable. I think to me, what made it a little extra step is the fact that you've invested in these characters and things
right.
matter. So at the end now, fast forward, we know what happens. Daniel one on one
Hmm.
Terry, and he actually uses everything Terry had taught him in Karate
Yep.
Kid 3 to defeat him, but with Miyagi
Right.
style.
Didn't he
Boom.
crane kick him at one
Okay,
point
we
too?
think
Right. Yeah.
he crane kicked
Yeah.
him at the end. That was his
Okay.
final blow. Crane kick him. Show's over, we think. And then Kreese comes out of the grave, like you said. He's
Yeah.
back and everything. Terry's arrested. Boom. Where do we go from here, Mike?
Well, obviously we
Now
have
what?
Kumite to deal with, but other than that, like, who's taking over Cobra Kai now? Is Kreese coming back to take over the dojo? And I didn't. So what's really confusing me about this now is because we have Stingray, who's about to tell the police that yeah, it was Terry Silver and not Kreese. I don't understand why Kreese is busting out of jail. Or did I miss something? Okay.
No, you're right.
Anyway, I got maybe they'll fix that next season.
I mean, Kreese didn't
Yeah.
know that, but
Oh well. But yeah, I mean that's all. That was all about to get resolved, and that's why Terry got arrested, right? So
yeah. I mean, that's a good point with Kreese's character. Now what? But let's go back a little step
hmm
behind. What about the entire main cast? Like, what do we think next season? Other than this major Kumite, there's a lot of unresolved issues. Tori and Sam, they never had their fight. Um, Kenny, is he really redeemed himself? Is he now part of the light? Is he going to be part of
right.
the light side? We don't know. Hawk, great character for 4 seasons, not so well this last season. What's next for him? Robbie Miguel, what's going to happen with those two characters? And then you got, the main guys, Johnny and
hmm
Daniel. Now, Johnny's about to have a kid. Daniel now is like the top
Yeah.
dog. He's ace of all aces. Where he probably should have been the beginning of the
Right.
show. Like, I don't quite see where the show can go unless they start bringing in fresh blood, which they seem to be doing really
So
well. And
mhm.
okay, you about to go. I think you're about to go there, but let me just say, unless you want to expand it to other characters from the Karate Kid universe and somehow tie that into the Kumite. But go ahead,
Yeah,
Mike.
we're gonna see. Let's see Hillary Swank next season.
Motherfucker! I knew you were gonna say that shit. I
We
knew
need to
it.
bring her in, right? Because she was in her
Yeah,
movie. She was at the what do you call it with the
she was
monks.
the last one to see
She was with the
Miyagi.
monks.
Yeah, last one
So
Miyagi.
I want to see the kids going with her and Daniel and over to the where were they in Tibet? I don't even remember where they were. No, they were in California. What are we talking
I
about
don't
Tibet?
remember.
They
In
were in
California,
California.
no, you're thinking of
Yeah,
Jackie
yeah,
Chan and Jaden Smith version. Which, by the way, for everyone watching this, if you don't know already, you should know. Will Smith is one of the executive producers
right.
of the show. That Will
Yep.
Smith. So I think this was his master plan. He fucking Kevin Feige this shit and knew his final phase. He's gonna drag his son, who played Karate Kid in a reboot, and Jackie Chan, and
I
somehow
really hope not.
Sony
Yeah.
MCU Fox this shit. Yo, think about it. I was at a barbershop a couple weeks ago. I had this conversation with my barber. I was like, dude, I think, because he's asking me what's going to happen next
hmm
season. I was like, yo, I think Will Smith is Kevin Feige. He's going to do the Sony MCU Fox shit and merge the Jackie Chan, Jaden Smith, Hilary Swank. Well, Hilary Swank is canon of the
Yeah.
Karate Kid. And that'll be the final season. Because, by the way, Netflix does not, I looked it up. I don't think they have any shows past 6 seasons.
Mm.
So more than likely, season
I
6 will
think
be the
yeah,
last
I think
season.
this is
I
supposed to be the
think I
last
could be
one.
wrong.
So pull out
Yeah.
all the
So
stops,
this
right?
would be a perfect time for Will to go
I
Kevin
really,
Feige
I
mode
really don't want to
and
see
give us
Jackie Chan
Endgame.
and Jaden Smith though. I really don't. Part of this.
I didn't think I wanted to see Mike
I mean,
Barnes.
not
I
only
was
that,
wrong.
we have this. There's another Karate Kid movie coming out that's not related to.
That's not
Yeah.
affiliated with this. Yeah,
So
it's not affiliated
it's
with them.
we're
Yeah, I
getting
heard.
really confused now, like with the universe here. So look, what I want to
Marvel
see,
problems.
what I want to see is a resolution between next season for the final season. Final resolution between Johnny and Daniel. You know, Chosen
Hmm.
getting with Kumiko. You know, let them get that resolved.
Oh yeah, another Easter egg
Yeah.
at the end. I missed that.
Um,
Yeah.
and this Kumite tournament and Sam and whoever and Miguel and whoever's going to win, let them win, right? So,
Yeah. All right. We're getting near our
mhm.
end. Wow, we actually did pretty well. I wanted to talk about favorite and worst moments, but I think we kind of
Yeah,
covered our favorite and worst moments while we were talking. So it really comes down to what would you rank this season? I think, and I could be wrong. You probably believe this was the best
yeah,
season of
I
all
think
five
so.
seasons. Am
I
I
think
wrong?
so.
Okay. So that being said, where would you rank this across all the other TV shows we've been watching and telling our subs to watch? We're recommending to our subs Severance, House of the Dragons, et cetera, et cetera. Where would you put this show?
Yeah, probably at least top five. I wouldn't say number one. Like I think right now I'm at
What's your number
House
one,
of
by
the
the way?
Dragon. There's probably a couple other shows
Mm,
that are I like a little better, but this is definitely up there. Like
okay.
if if you're a Gen, I can't even say that really, like because I think this show hits Gen Xers different than you know what I mean, millennials and Gen Z
Yeah.
kids, because we
Yeah.
grew up with we know Daniel San, you know what I mean, we know Miyagi, so I
Yeah.
think this is more,
It does
yeah,
hit him. I mean, Mike,
hmm
real quick, because I know when I asked Serena to watch it, she waited like 2 weeks to watch it.
uh,
And then when she watched it, she was like texting me religiously after every
yeah,
episode. I think the same fervor you and I have to this show exists with the Gen
yeah,
Xers, but the connection points are different.
mm,
You and I connect with the adult
right,
characters. They connect with the
yes,
students.
yes,
Same, I can't tell them. It's not like you go into Star Wars convention and you see like a 25-year-old full
hmm
decked out Boba Fett. You're like, you don't know anything about Star Wars. No, in his mind, he knows about Star
yeah.
Wars. You're just an old man. Yeah, get off my lawn. I'm the original Star Wars fan. Like, I don't want to get
No,
into
no,
that. Like,
no. I'm not saying the show's not for them. I'm just saying like I think we relate to it on a different level. That's all. So
that is true. That is true. So I'm gonna put this show probably my favorite in the entire. Yeah, it bumped Severance. Severance was number
hmm
one. And then Succession, and then House of Dragons, and then Rings of Power right now is killing it. But yeah, I think this is my favorite show so far of this year. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for welcoming me back into Heroes Peak in the
it's good to
community.
have you back.
Love you guys. I missed you guys a lot. I know it's been a while. We've been going through some stuff. Mike, where can our fans, subscribers, and new watchers catch us?
As usual, we are all over the internet at Heroes Peak, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Hit that bell in the corner to get notifications, and let us know what you think of Cobra Kai season 5.
Yeah, let us know if you think this is like one of the best shows of the year or pure dog doo doo. Don't care. Just let us know. And leave a
Yeah,
comment. Say something. So, you know what? I don't believe in this. I think this is good. Maybe not so. Whatever. Leave a comment. It actually generates traffic to our website, to our
exactly.
podcast.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Until next time.
Hey, Indigo made the beat.